I don't really know what this video is going to be like, but I wanted to talk to you about Hippolyta and Wonder Woman because I recently watched A Midsummer Night's Dream, the adaptation television thing by Russell T Davies, which is queer and it's great, and I also recently read issue 5 of The Legend of Wonder Woman, and in it, there's this fun moment where Wonder Woman goes into a cinema, and she's never been to a cinema before. Like, they don't have them in Themyscira. I don't know how to pronounce her homeland. They play a part of A Midsummer Night's Dream, and it's in black and white because it's like the 40s. And they have the lines, "Now, fair Hippolyta, our nuptial hour draws on apace. 4 happy days brings on another moon. But oh, methinks how slow the old moon wanes. I wooed thee with my sword and won thy love, doing thee injuries. But I will wed thee in another key, with pomp, with triumph, and with revelling." And that's said by Theseus. And then Hippolyta responds with, "4 days will quickly steep themselves in night. 4 nights will quickly dream away the time. And then the moon, like to a silver bow, new bent in heaven, shall behold the night of our solemnities." Wonder Woman's response, or Diana is her name, her response is this how your world remembers the mighty Queen Hippolyta, a weakling who embraces every false word of the blackguard Theseus?" And I just thought that was really interesting and kind of fun. And so I wanted to talk about my love for Hippolyta in A Midsummer Night's Dream, and why I think this adaptation does have some really cool character development / exploration. In the adaptation, the very first scene is really intense, and it's like they basically put Theseus forward as this incredibly tyrannical, Hitler-like leader. There's lots of red and people wear armbands with A for Athens, but it looks incredibly similar to kind of like, yeah, Nazi imagery. Then they bring in Hippolyta, who is like restrained, and she is clearly kind of like not impressed. She has a muzzle and she's also pushed in, so she doesn't even walk into the room. And the guy behind Theseus, who's clearly kind of like his personal assistant, has a pad, and on it has her words, basically. And they take off her muzzle, and then he holds the words up to her, and she has to read them out to him. And I think that's a really effective way of showing how resistant Hippolyta would be. A lot of productions of A Midsummer Night's Dream have them fighting to begin with, like when they have this conversation, and it's never really clear in the play, like whether it is consensual, basically, like whether Hippolyta does love Theseus. In another version, when it's set in like 1900s, they have it where Hippolyta and Theseus are very clearly in love with each other. And then the other thing that's really interesting about her is she watches a lot of the play. Like, she is a presence, but she doesn't speak very much. And I always think that's really interesting, to have a character who is silent but watches. Because, like, what is going on in her head? What is she thinking? And her power is also kind of immediately centred in this adaptation, because the guards get kind of dodgy, because basically she starts to, like, shake. And you don't quite understand why, but it looks like I was thinking maybe she has like some kind of thing possessing her, or it's some kind of like magic that's like chalked up inside of her. Her like inherent power is shown in that way too. And then it ends with a kiss between Hippolyta and Titania, who is the queen of the fairies. And basically Titania frees Hippolyta from her like shackles, her straitjacket, and what emerges, and what you realise has been making the like fluttering noises, or like the fluttering palpitation of her body, is these amazing butterfly wings. And her and Hippolyta both have them, and it kind of ends with them kissing. I always felt like there was such queer potential for Hippolyta. She's the queen of the Amazons, like that's a pretty like homo-social environment. Like, there's clearly going to be some queer women and queerness within that society, and within her positioning as like the queen of them. And I think that's really cool, and I really appreciate how this played into that, thought about it more complexly than just like it was against her will, but like actually gave her an interesting and fun kind of ending. Those are just my thoughts. Toodle pip.